The echo of Starlight. It began on the night the moon bled red over the town of Ashbourne, where the wind whispered secrets only the brave dared to hear. Beneath the canopy of ancient oaks, Eleanor Sinclair tightened the laces of her worn-out running shoes, her breath visible in the chilling air. The world had told her that she was broken, that she would never run, never dance, never chase the wind the way she longed to. But Eleanor refused to be confined by the cruel fate of her illness. She had trained in the quiet solitude of the forest, feeling every muscle scream, every bone protest, but never once did she surrender to the voice that told her to stop. She was made for this, for movement, for the rush of adrenaline that made her heart sing. The race of the century had come to Ashbourne, promising glory to those who could outrun their own limitations. The streets bustled with eager competitors, their faces alight with determination. But beneath the surface, there was an unspoken fear. Something was happening in Ashbourne. People disappeared, shadows moved where they should not, and the night had eyes that watched from the abyss. The race was not just a test of speed, but a challenge of survival. Eleanor felt it in her bones. She had always been different, but she never spoke of the visions. The girl in the mirror who wasn't her, the whispers in the wind that called her by name, the stars that flickered messages only she could decipher. And then there was him, Lucian, the stranger with eyes like molten silver, who had appeared in town just as the nightmares began. He had warned her, his voice as haunting as it was mesmerizing. "You are not just running a race, Eleanor. You are running from something ancient, and it is watching." That night, the air carried the scent of rain and something darker. The starting line pulsed with restless energy as runners stretched, adjusted their gear, exchanged nervous glances. Eleanor inhaled deeply, her fingers tightening around the pendant her mother had given her before she vanished years ago, a single sapphire, shimmering like the last light of dusk. The gun fired and they ran. The world blurred, feet pounding against cobblestone, breath sinking with the rhythm of her beating heart. Eleanor felt the exhilaration, the surge of power that defied the doctors, the skeptics, the doubts. She was flying, faster than she ever had before. But then the screams. Shadows erupted from the alleyways, figures moving faster than humanly possible. The crowd gasped as one by one, runners vanished into the darkness. The race had become a hunt. Lucian appeared beside her, matching her pace effortlessly. "Eleanor, listen to me. You have to keep going." "What is happening?" she gasped, terror gripping her chest. "The Forgotten Ones," he said grimly. "They were sealed away centuries ago. The race was a ritual to keep them imprisoned. But something went wrong. They are free." A scream tore through the air, and Eleanor saw a runner pulled into the abyss, vanishing as if they had never existed. The finish line was the only salvation. But it was not just about finishing. It was about breaking the curse, about stopping whatever horror had been unleashed. The stars above flickered violently, their light dimming. Eleanor's pendant pulsed with warmth. She realized then, her mother's disappearance, the visions, the strange pull toward this race, it was all connected. She was meant to be here. She was meant to end this. With every ounce of strength left in her, she pushed forward. Lucian was beside her, his presence a shield against the encroaching darkness. "Run like the stars are watching," he whispered. And she did. The finish line was within reach, glowing with an ethereal light. But behind her, the shadows lunged. They reached for her, claws of darkness stretching, seeking, hungering. She could hear their whispers now, ancient and cruel, promising her a place among them if she faltered. Eleanor did not falter. She crossed the line just as the world erupted in light. A wave of energy surged outward, banishing the darkness, sealing the rift that had opened. The Forgotten One screamed in agony before vanishing into the void once more. The sky above blazed with stars that had returned to their rightful place. Silence. The spectators were frozen in awe. The remaining runners collapsed, gasping. And then the applause. It was not for the winner of the race, but for her. For Eleanor Sinclair, the girl who was told she would never run, but who had outrun the darkness itself. Lucian stood beside her, his silver eyes filled with something almost like wonder. "You did it," he murmured. "You changed fate." Eleanor looked at the sky, where the stars twinkled in a dance only she could understand. She had not won the race, but she had won something greater. She had proven that she was more than the limits placed upon her. She had rewritten her story. And somewhere, beyond the veil of reality, her mother's voice whispered, proud and free. Eleanor smiled. This was not the end. This was just the beginning. The stars had more stories to tell.
Whispering echoes.